this one is your good friend, an Olympian, Boston Marathon winner, Des Linden there in the orange singlet. Des is ready to go in her
This is her fifth
trial.
Yes, it's truly incredible. The stretch of her career is truly just astonishing.
How about Jenny Simpson on the left there? One of the most prolific middle distance runners for the United States in the history of the sport, is about to click it up a gear and go to a whole different distance.
Not only is she moving up to the marathon, she's doing it in her hometown. And so this community is very, very excited to see her out there. Her high school coaches, her teammates, they're ready to see Jenny Simpson make her debut.
And look, yesterday when Jenny got to meet there's Joan Benoit Samuelson, winner of the 1984 marathon, the first ever winner of the Women's Olympic Marathon in LA. Joan, by the way, is going to join us later, which we're really excited about. She's going to give the start. Mev Kaplewski gave the start of the men's race. Mev will join us as well. And the women are underway to see which three, who gets to go to Paris 2024.
You know, my gut says we're going to see a little bit more aggressive racing from the beginning on the women's side. Maybe they'll take this first small loop to gather their energy, calm the nerves. But this is a group of women that are known for aggressive racing. So I think we're going to see some pretty quick running on this women's side.
So the qualifying picture looks dramatically different to the men. Remember how just 2 spots have been unlocked for the men? Well, it is, we keep saying wide open because it is. There are 10 different women who have already run the Olympic standard, not just that wider time, that broader time for the quota reallocation standard set by World Athletics, but 10 women have already run the Olympic standard. So if 3 of those 10 come across the line, 1, 2, 3, they're the 3 going to Paris.
Absolutely, and honestly, Lee, I don't see a situation in which they don't run under that Olympic standard today. That's just how good the American women are. So I really think whoever we see in that top 3 is going to be ready to go no matter what. The American women are just so strong.
Emily Sisson at the front, Jenny Simpson in that orange singlet, out early. She was really bubbly yesterday when she got to meet the press, and it was a huge marquee here in downtown, right near the finish line. She just felt good, something different. And it's extending her career.
Absolutely, and you have to think from Jenny's perspective, this pace right now feels so relaxed, right? She's used to running sub 4 minutes in a 1500. No amount of, you can't let any move go, you have to be on it. The marathon is so different, so that's the challenge for her, is really relaxing into this, knowing it's a long game. But I'm super excited, as are so many other people, of what she can do in a marathon. As someone that used to train with her, her long runs were extremely impressive.
She kept talking about the 16-mile distance. Was that how was moved earlier on consultation with Team USA and the athletes and all entities involved? And that's why we're running early in the morning here, just slightly before 10:30 Eastern. Kira D'Amato leads the way, the 39-year-old from Virginia. I want to tell you something and share something with you that she said yesterday. She said, being a runner has made me a better mum. Being a mum has made me a better runner. I mean, and this is a theme throughout this field of Olympic hopefuls. There is in excess of 20 mums who are competing for an Olympic spot.
I love when she said that. I think that was really relatable to all of the moms in the audience and the other moms that are running. It's really amazing to see 20-plus moms running this race right now. It's really historic. And all of the favorites that we were expecting to see are in the front right now. This is interesting.
Her arm carriage is really low. She's really taking these early miles to set herself up for a fight at the finish. Right behind Emily Sisson is Betsy Sena, who last year was ranked #1 marathoner in the United States. After she got her citizenship, had her child, she said it would be the chance of a lifetime to represent Team USA when this country has given so much in return. So a lot of racing ahead of us, but it is looking to be a hot one out here because of the pace that these women are keeping. Their first mile was 5:33, but we should be coming up on the second mile very soon.
Dina, that's such a great point, because Betsy Sena is already an Olympian for her home country, her birth country of Kenya, but since becoming a United States citizen, she said, especially now being a mum, she would love to be a US Olympian for her 2-year-old son.
Absolutely, and I love her positioning right now. She's tucked in. Anyone that wants to make this Olympic team really needs to keep them in their sights.
In this lead pack, Sarah Hall, Kira D'Amato, Fiona O'Keefe, Emily Sisson, Betsy Sainer, Emily Durgan, Lindsay Flanagan, Natasha Rogers. We'll talk more about her in a moment. Let's check in with Dina.
Hello, there's a couple debutantes in this lead pack. It's so exciting to see that.
Not make it such a fancy title, but there's so much to do here. Welcome back, Lee Diffie-Karagaucha, Dina Castor, Lewis Johnson with you here on the streets of downtown Orlando. And the race is on for those spots to Paris. And in this lead pack, in the women, Emily Durgan of Maine, the 29-year-old, all in black there, running out this front pack as we check in with Dina.
Yes, Emily Durgan looks fantastic, but I've noticed that every time Emily Sisson takes the lead, the pace increases. At the burden of that, Alfine Tuliamuk, our defending champion, is off the back of this pack now, but she has reattached herself before. It's hard to tell if she's just running an even pace, and this front pack is a living, breathing thing, shifting paces as the miles go on. But Emily Sisson keeps a very honest pace when she takes the lead. And I was wondering whether this race would go out conservatively or hard, and they are making this an honest race from the very start. At mile 4, they were under 2:20 projected finishing time. There's only 2 women in the field who have ever done that. That's Emily Sisson and Kira D'Amato. But the pros of going out hard is that it makes for an honest race. By honest, I mean only the fittest are going to survive as the miles go on. But in those later stages, it may get ugly and dramatic as we see some talent beginning to flail. So the pace is honest, and the cons of going out hard is that in the warmth, you could tell a significant temperature difference between the sunny sections and the shaded sections of this course. So we're welcoming any shade we can get out here. You risk overheating in the later stages of the race when you're running hard or beyond your capabilities. Your body can't dissipate.
She's running for her late mum, who was a victim of lung cancer. Her mum, of course, was her biggest fan, and that is a driving motivator. It's what got her running, got her started in running, and what continues to drive her here today. And the possibility of making a US Olympic marathon team. Huge day, Dina.
It is no surprise Dakota went to the lead. When we were coming through around the corner, it was a scream tunnel, and she was hyping up the crowd, waving and smiling. She is known for smiling through her 26.2 miles. She is having an absolute ball out here, but she's not the only one. Also in this pack, further back, is McKenna Myler, who has been looking around and absorbing this scene, and that's what the Olympic trial spirit is all about. Taking in the energy from the fans. You see them streamlined in busy sections so they can feed off the energy of the crowds. This pack has been amazing, and you could tell they're really absorbing what the fans have to offer out here. Also in this pack, someone we haven't talked about, she's sitting in 4th place right now, grabbing her bottle as I speak, is Lindsay Flanagan. She represented Team USA at the World Championships last year and took 9th place, so she is a force to be reckoned with. She's now center of our screen. They're going to hold on to their bottles, make sure they get all the fluids that they can, because those are critical calories later on in the race. This is so exciting at the water bottle stations that things break up, but then they come right back together and work together again as these miles click on. It is a talented pack at that. Nell Rojas is also in this pack. We see her running the Boston Marathon. She's got the visor on.
Well, there's some rookies in there, but there's some really experienced runners as well. I know most of them. I'm rooting for all of them. I'm not playing favorites, but it's great to see the mix of the new and the more experienced runners out here.
And you won your Olympic gold on a warm, hot day. So what would you tell these women? I mean, they're out there now, but what is important to remember on a hot day like this when you're out racing a marathon?
Well, I'd be keeping a little something in reserve, because when you get toward the end, it's a lot easier mentally to pass people than to be passed. So I think there may be somebody who's going to come up from behind. Meb mentioned attrition. I think we still have room for attrition. I hope not, but it's getting very warm out there, and it was noticeable from the start line to the finish line when we walked back. The temperature had risen.
Into the second half of this Olympic trials marathon.
This is still a big pack. They're still running pretty aggressively. They've slowed down a tiny bit, but it's still an aggressive pace, especially for a day like today. And we've sort of seen switching of the leads, although Dakota Lindworm has been confident to be in there for a while. Emily Sisson has decided to go to the back of this pack. She led a lot of the beginning stages, and she's decided to go back in the back there and just ride out some of these stages, let some other people lead for a little while, gather her energy, gather her thoughts. She still looks very, very good. It's tough at this point because you think someone took the lead, someone fell back a little bit, but really all of these women are running the exact same pace. They're just feeling each other out, and they're trying to get through as effortlessly as possible.
Atlanta Trials winner and Tokyo Olympian Alfine Tuliamuk has dropped back from this lead pack. I want to give a shout out to Molly Seidel, who was a late withdrawal from these trials. On debut, it has looked unflappable. Sarah Hall still staying in touch on the left-hand side of your screen. Lindworm in that bright yellow top. Dakota is still there. Kira D'Amato has dropped back a little. She's at the back of this pack as the women have completed some 16 of the 26.2 miles.
You know, I think a lot of people thought that D'Amato and Sisson would lead this whole race. D'Amato has dropped back a little bit, but so much can happen. They still have so much running to do, and especially with these weather conditions, they have over 10 miles to go. I know that she saw herself more in that front pack, but she just needs to stay focused and keep her eyes up. I am impressed that Emily Sisson, everyone thought she would try to tempo away from everyone. She hasn't been afraid to run in the pack and sort of observe what other people are doing. She was in the front in the beginning, and then she decided to tuck her way back there. She has experience. She's an Olympian in the 10,000, but she would love to make this marathon team. She said dropping out of the 2020 trials was one of the most heartbreaking experiences of her life and certainly of her career, and she has been so focused on making this team today.
Betsy Sainer.
In the middle of the screen is Carolyn Rotich. She was
Look at the lead that Fiona O'Keefe of Sacramento, California has opened up on the rest of the women in these Olympic marathon trials. This is at her first attempt, and she is running with confidence and authority.
This is so impressively. Her coach, Alistair Craig, said that when she came to their team, he noticed in all of the longer workouts, she just handled them so well. And he knows so much about the marathon. His wife and their other coach, Amy Craig, is a medalist at the World Championships in 2017. They know marathoners. And they thought, you know what? We're going to pose she is. Her knee lift is so good. She's just popping off of the pavement. She isn't looking back. She's just looking straight ahead. And she has, you know, about 4 miles to go here before she crosses that line. But it's hard to imagine she's going to fall apart. Everything is so controlled at this point.
Through 22.5 miles of the 26.2. And earlier, simply because of the fact of her age and inexperience in this event, being on debut, we were looking and wondering, and not necessarily questioning, but more wondering what the remainder of the race would look like. Well, Fiona O'Keefe has answered that emphatically.
Absolutely. This is such a statement, and what a statement to make. It's so hard to come in the marathon.
And the race is on for the third and final spot.
Lee, this is just so intense. 39-year-old Carolyn Rotich with so much experience. Then the youngster, Dakota Lindworm, 28 years old, has really made a name for going out and just going after goals, going after times, not being afraid to put herself in the mix. This is Dakota Lindworm at her best. Can she separate here, get some daylight, and see if she can, you know, solidify that third position? I can't imagine what's going through her mind right now. She has planned this race so perfectly to put herself in this position right now, and this is where she really needs to turn those screws and make Rotich, you know, not think that there's just no way that she can close that gap.
You went to 2 trials, you made it in one, you didn't in the other. You know it's all on the line here.
Oh, everything. This is going to be the difference between elation and absolute devastation. I know them both well.
Quick break, and we will come back to finish off the women's marathon. 25-year-old Fiona. racing to the end and hopefully racing to Paris. The women's marathon is inside the final mile, and you're looking at currently the third place. Dakota Lindworm would be going to her first Olympic Summer Games to represent Team USA if she can hang where she is. They're on pace. They're on incredible pace.
Incredibly fast pace. And Lee, this is why the U.S. has a system we have. No one would have picked Dakota Lindworm off of the paper, but she has put up such an incredible performance. She has weathered the heat. She has weathered the shifting in pace, and she has put herself in that third position and well under the Olympic standard time.
Let's move up to second place and talk about Emily Sisson, because I want to go back 4 years ago. Emily's already an Olympian, but that's on the track side. For the marathon, she was one of the overwhelming favorites in Atlanta on that cold, windy day 4 years ago, and she dropped out at mile 22. She describes it as the most disappointing race of her career. Talk about redemption here. Absolute
redemption. She has been such a pro through this whole thing, very even-keeled emotionally. She is here to just get the job done, finish in the top 3, and get my ticket off to Paris, and that's what she has done perfectly. She's never overexerted herself, and she's just running a very solid race. Remember, she's our American record holder. We know she can run fast, but she's proving today that she can be very level-headed and just execute what needs to happen to move on to the Olympic Games.
Well, talking about pace and talking about records, Cara, Shalane Flanagan holds the trials record from Houston back in 2012 at a 2:25:38. This 25-year-old on your screen is currently on target to beat that. Fiona O'Keefe could not only win on debut, get her first Olympic berth, but she could own the trials marathon record as well. She is under 2:26:50. She runs her way in with Olympic qualifying standards. She's on target for that. She's going to run. But let's soak up this, because with Conor Mantz in the men, it was special as he ran home with his training partner Clayton Young. Look at Fiona O'Keefe. She's by herself, grimacing a little to get to the end, but she's going to create a special piece of history here on debut, setting the US Olympic Marathon Trials record and going to Paris, all on the same day. Emily Sisson in the background, but to the cheers of the crowd here on Roseland in downtown Orlando, Fiona O'Keefe, an incredible performance in her first marathon, is going to go all the way, not only to the finish line, but Fiona O'Keefe goes to Paris by winning the US Olympic Team Marathon Trials here in Florida. Outstanding.
Lee, the future has arrived. What a race, the poise, the confidence, like a veteran out there. And we see Emily Sisson now making her first Olympic marathon team. So well-deserved, so much pressure on her leading into this week. Everyone thinking Emily Sisson is a shoo-in. She still has to go out there and execute, and she got that job done.
It's the run and the race that Emily wanted 4 years ago. She's an Olympian on the track. She's now a US Olympian. She was heading there to participate in Paris later this summer. Well done, Emily Sisson. So the top 2 ladies are across. And how about third? Dakota Lindworm was starting to pull away from Caroline Rotich, and she has confirmed that and moved further away from Rotich.
What a moment this is for Dakota Lindworm. She says her favorite memory is her mom at the finish line of the marathon in 2018 when she qualified for her first.
And Dakota Lindworm later this summer is going to get to wear the Stars and Stripes in the capital of France. 2 already home in O'Keefe and Sisson. Add Dakota Lindworm's name to that list as she takes the final steps down Roseland to the finish line here in downtown Orlando. She's got it. She's got it. Dakota Lindworm is off to Paris. She can't believe it. Dina do? What did Dina say in her book, and how can I draw strength and motivation from that as the women celebrate with a picture that will be life-lasting? And this day will be engraved in their memories forever. A special day, a first for Orlando and Florida. Are complete with the women's marathon just being finished. Fiona O'Keefe victorious over Emily Sisson and Dakota Lindworm. We'll remember this day for a long while, and so will these three ladies who are standing by with Lewis Johnson. Lewis?